And now, sitting in our tunnel, we wonder about these words. It is forbidden not to be happy. Men are free, and the earth belongs to all men. And the will of all men together is good for all, and so all men must be happy. Yet as we stand in the great hall preparing for sleep, we look upon our brothers and we wonder. The heads of our brothers are all bowed, their eyes are dull, and never do they look one another in the eyes. A word steals into our mind as we look upon our brothers, and that word is fear. There is fear hanging in the sleeping halls and in the air of the streets. Fear walks through the city, fear without name, without shape. All men feel it, and none dare to speak. We feel it also when we are in the home of the street sweepers. But here in our tunnel, we feel fear no longer. The air is pure under the ground. There is no odour of men, and these 3 hours give us strength for our hours above the ground. Our body is betraying us, for the council of the home looks with suspicion upon us. It is not good to feel much joy, nor to be glad that our body lives. It must not matter to us whether we live or die, which is to be as our brothers will it. But we, Equality 72521, are glad to be living. If this is a vice, then we wish no virtue. Yet our brothers are not like us. All is not well with our brothers. There are Fraternity 25503, a quiet boy with wise, kind eyes, who cries suddenly without reason in the midst of day or night. Their body shakes with sobs they cannot explain. There are Solidarity 96347, who are a bright youth without fear in the day, but scream into the night. Help us! Help us! The doctors cannot cure Solidarity 96347. As we undress at night in the dim light of the candles, our brothers are silent, for they dare not speak the thoughts of their minds. For all must agree with all. They cannot know if their thoughts are the thoughts of all, and so they fear to speak. They are glad when the candles are blown out for the night. But we, Equality 72521, look through the window upon the sky, and there is a peace in the sky, and cleanliness and dignity. And beyond the city there lies the plain, and beyond the plain, black upon black, there lies the uncharted forest. Ever do our eyes return to that black patch upon the sky. Men never enter the uncharted forest, for there is no power to explore it, and no path to lead among its ancient trees. Yet it is whispered once or twice in 100 years, one among the men of the city escape alone to the uncharted forest. These men do not return. They perish from hunger and from the claws of the wild beasts which roam the forest. Our councils say this is only a legend, but we have heard that there are many uncharted forests over the land, among the cities, and it is whispered that they have grown over the ruins of many cities of the unmentionable times. As we look upon the uncharted forest, we wonder how it came to pass that the secrets of the unmentionable times were lost to the world. We have heard the legends of the great fighting, in which many men fought on one side and only a few on the other. These few were the evil ones, and they were conquered. Then great fires raged over the land. In these fires, the evil ones and all things made by the evil ones were burned. The fire, which is called the dawn of the great rebirth, was the script fire, where all the scripts of the evil ones were burned, and with them the words of the evil ones. Great mountains of flames stood in the squares of the cities. Then came the great rebirth. The words of the evil ones, the words of the unmentionable times. What are the words which we have lost? May the council have mercy upon us. We knew not what we were doing until we had written it. We shall not ask this question, and we shall not think it. We shall not call death upon our head. And yet, there is one single word which is not in the language of men, the unspeakable word which no men may speak or hear. But sometimes, somewhere, one among men may find that word, upon scraps of old manuscripts or cut into fragments of ancient stones. When they speak it, they are put to death. There is no crime punishable by death in this world, save this one crime of speaking the unspeakable word. We have seen one of such men burned alive in the square of the city, and it was a sight that has stayed with us, and it haunts us and follows us, and it gives us no rest. We were a child then, 10 years old, and we stood in the great square with all the children and the men of the city, sent to behold the burning. They brought the transgressor out into the square, and they led them to the pyre. They had torn out the tongue of the transgressor so that they could speak no longer. They walked to the pyre, and their step did not falter. Of all the faces on that square, of all the faces which shrieked and screamed and spat curses upon them, theirs was the calmest and the happiest face. As the chains were wound over their body at the stake, and the flames set to the pyre, the transgressor looked upon the city. A monstrous thought came to us then, which has never left us. We have heard of saints, saints of labours and saints of the councils, and of the great rebirth. But we had never seen a saint, or what the likeness of a saint should be, and we thought then that the likeness of a saint was the face we saw before us in the flames, the face of the transgressor of the unspeakable word. As the flames rose, a thing happened which no eyes saw but ours. The eyes of the transgressor had chosen us from the crowd and were looking straight upon us. There was no pain in their eyes, only joy and pride, a pride holier than it is fit for human pride to be. It seemed as if these eyes were trying to tell us something through the flames, as if they were trying to send into our eyes some word without sound. These eyes were begging us to gather that word and not to let it go from us and from the earth. But the flames rose, and we could not guess the word. What, even if we have to burn for it, like the saint of the pyre? What is the unspeakable word? What is the unspeakable word?